Yo, yo, yo. This week on the XFactorSportz podcast, episode 106. The NBA, do they have a gambling problem or a leadership problem? We got World Series baseball, game 5 tonight. We tell you who wins the World Series. And of course, we got your top 10 power rankings in the NFL. Keep it locked right here. Episode 106 of the XFactorSportz podcast starts right now. Yo, yo. Episode 106 of the XFactorSportz podcast. It's your boy Jay Mondaine. We are in season 9, episode 10. Shout out to my boy coming from Camp Crystal Lake, my boy Jason Voorhees. Shout out to him, special guest tonight. We got a great show for y'all, like he talked about in the opener. A Halloween special, great episode. We got a lot of things to get into. The big 3 sports tonight. We got live World Series Game 5 going on right now. You can catch the XFactorSportz podcast every week, every Wednesday night. We're on YouTube. You can catch us on any of the audio platforms that you like to listen to. The XFactorSportz podcast is always rocking. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into the quick news. We're going to get straight to it. We're going to talk NCAA. We got football and basketball to talk about. But we got to start with NCAA college football. Brian Kelly, former LSU head coach, got a lot of big-time programs losing coaches this year. You had Mike Gundy, lost the Oklahoma State job. You had Franklin lose the Penn State job. And now Brian Kelly is out at LSU, which I talked to one of my friends about this a couple weeks ago. He's a A&M fan. Shout out to Paige and shout out to them. So Matt and Paige, their cousin plays at Texas A&M. So I talked to him last week, kind of tongue-in-cheek, joking. I was like, y'all about to get Brian Kelly fired this week, ain't y'all? So, and fast forward, it became a reality. So he's out at LSU, but for a number of reasons, all right? His first interview when he talked to the media with that fake Bayou country accent, I knew it wasn't going to work, right? Of course, what he did at Notre Dame got him the opportunity to coach at LSU, and so he got the job. But him getting fired now is justified. And when it comes to top 10 games in the AP poll, he just couldn't win them. Down in the SEC, LSU, you got national championships, you got national championship expectations, and he didn't hit those. To add insult to injury, he leaves Notre Dame, and Marcus Freeman gets Notre Dame to a national championship game last year when everybody thought they didn't have a shot. He did it with young players. He developed them. They're still good this year. So if you are a governing body, if you are a alumni association in the SEC and you're looking at the guy you paid to get here, and you're looking at the school he left and they get to a national championship without him, and y'all stuck in neutral, then you got to do what you got to do as an organization. So I'm not surprised he got left out. The crazy part is he's still getting paid. So there's a $54 million buyout they're trying to figure out. And if they don't get it figured out, Brian Kelly gets $800,000 a month. So I think they probably want to get that figured out as soon as possible. He might not get the full $54 million buyout. That's why the negotiation's happening. But he gets $800,000 a month until they do figure it out. So that's what we got for NCAA football. Basketball is back, though. College basketball is back. Last week, we saw all the exhibition games. I saw Duke against Tennessee last week, and Cam Boozer looks like a pro already. All right. Good game against Tennessee. My man had 24 points, 23 rebounds. This is a freshman. He can do everything. can shoot from the outside. He likes to play in the post. He rebounds, obviously. So a lot of better than Cooper Flag talk. We need to chill on that till March and see how far he can take Duke, see him in some conference games. That's how I am about freshmen. I got to see them in conference play when they play against the juniors and seniors that have played in their respective leagues. They've played with those refs. They've played in true road games. I need to see that from freshmen first. But the real freshman I want to see is A.J. Dumbasta. All right, he's over at BYU. I never thought in a million years I would say I want to see a freshman play basketball out of Brigham Young University. However, they say this kid could have went in the draft last year out of high school. So I got to see what all the talk is about. There's a kid at KU that's supposed to be the number one guy. Obviously, I'm hearing that around this part of the country. But I want to see all these guys line up and we find out who the best players are. So college basketball is back. Next week, we get real games. I'm excited for it. All right. Then in the NBA, last week was opening week. It was crazy. It seemed like every game somebody was scoring 50 or 40 points. Hell, Austin Reeves, he done scored 90 points in his last 2 games, pretty much. No Luka, no LeBron. He just putting them up. So a lot of high scoring games. And last week we talked about our NBA predictions, and we had Victor Wembanyama being second team All-NBA. If the season ended today, he'd be the MVP probably, right? So the Spurs are tied for their best start ever, which is crazy to say with teams with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, Ginobili, with David Robinson. They've never won 5 games in a row out the gate to start a season. They've never been 5-0. Spurs have a chance to do that because of Victor Wembanyama and the other young boys over there. He's having a crazy season already to start. I still think he'll be second team All-NBA, but Defensive Player of the Year, if he's healthy, is probably a no-brainer. Voters might get voter fatigue giving him Defensive Player of the Year, but I think he'll get more than 4 or 5 if he's healthy. A lot of these other shows trying to give you clickbait, talking about Wemby's in a GOAT conversation, or he will be. Chill out, all right? He's in year 3, basically year 2.5, because he ain't even been healthy enough to play 3 seasons yet. So relax, all right? Let him have a great month in the NBA before we start even saying those words about Victor Wembanyama. But he is bridging the gap between the old generation and this current generation with Giannis and with Jokic and those guys that are in their prime and sailing away. And you got the guys like Tatum, you got guys like SGA, you got guys like Edwards who are in their physical prime. Wemby's coming. Like he's sped up the curve of how good these guys need to be, and they need to hurry up and win championships and get good quick. Tatum got his, Shea got his, but the way Wemby is playing, the way his guys play around him, guys like Anthony Edwards better watch out. Guys like Luka Doncic better watch out. They better hurry up and get their rings before this guy learns how to play in the NBA. So that's the scary part. He's not even acclimated to the league yet. So when he gets there, and we're already seeing he's basically a combination of Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon. Go look those guys up if you don't know who I'm talking about. And if he looks like this already, I can't wait to see what he looks like at the end of this season in year 4, year 5. So the best is yet to come for Wemby, and the NBA is starting off on a bang. All right. Again, the XFactorSportz podcast. You can catch us every Wednesday night on YouTube, and you can always check any of the audio platforms as well. All right. So we already got some talk in the chat. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in and they're chatting on this live stream. All right. Jason made an appearance. Yes, sir. I'm glad y'all saw that. And anything y'all else want to talk about, again, you can always chime in to the XFactorSportz podcast. Yes, the Chicago Bulls are 3-0 right now, but Bulls fans don't get too excited. All right. They do this to us every year. They get a nice start. We think they're going to be good. Then they give us 38, 39 wins and they get in the play-in game. So it's still October. I'm going to chill and relax on them. All right. But since we are talking NBA, This is a nice segue. We're going to dive right into it. And we're going to talk about what's going on with the NBA, okay? Now, everybody's already heard about the gambling. Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, Damon Jones. We all know the story of what's going on. We all know the feds came through. They got a list of like 30 dudes. Obviously, Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier being an active player will make headlines. Chauncey Billups being an active head coach will make headlines. So I'm not going to use the angle that all these other TV shows have been using. We're going to go a different direction, all right? With the NBA going the way it's going, we've had conversations about load management. We've had conversations about injuries. We've had conversations about the All-Star game, if that needs to be changed up. Rules being changed. People are even talking about the NBA needs a 4-point line. They're really trying to turn this into a circus. Now we're here at this gambling issue. So the real question that nobody's asking, and this is why you come to the XFactorSportz podcast, we give you real talk, unbiased takes. The real question that needs to be asked, and I'm going to say the quiet part loud, does the NBA have a gambling problem or do they have a leadership problem? Okay? That's what needs to be discussed. Now, Adam Silver is a great guy, and he's a players commissioner. But when it comes to discipline, is he doing what's best for the NBA as a business? This is why I say this. For those of you who are old enough to remember David Stern, when he was the commissioner, rest in peace. David Stern was the commissioner from 1984 to 2016. So basically my entire life up until that point, David Stern was the commissioner of the NBA. And Larry O'Brien was before that. So that's why the trophy is named after Larry O'Brien. There's a history lesson for y'all. But when David Stern was there, his job was to make the NBA global, to elevate the brand, which nobody can argue. He did an excellent job at elevating the brand, starting with TV deals, starting with live TV, getting it off tape delay, Bird and Magic in the 80s, playing on live TV. Fast forward, you get Michael Jordan. You get the NBA players playing in USA basketball in the Olympics, taking the amateurs out, making the game global, which he plays a huge part in why we're seeing foreign players in the NBA today, because they got to see NBA basketball players internationally. Tony Parker, Dirk Nowitzki, like those guys credit their game and their way of play and them get into the league by seeing that 92 Dream Team. But also, he made the league profitable, David Stern, but he also had discipline. He wanted it to be a clean-cut business. And that's not to say that gambling wasn't happening back then. It's to say that the way David Stern ran the league, you didn't hear about it. You didn't hear the feds was kicking down doors and dragging people out, right? If anything was going on, it was kept under wraps. He had the feds on lock. He had the NBA commissioner, the owners on lock. Everything was under control. Was that a good way to lead the league? They made profit. They became international. The Chicago Bulls still sell out games, and Jordan ain't played in Chicago in 27 years. So I would say he made the NBA pretty successful, right? And swept a lot of the scrutiny under the rug. Fast forward to today. Players want more money. Players want to play less. Players want rules to change more for offensive freedom of movement. And then when you let the kids get too many things, then they start to do things that they shouldn't do. So sports gambling is here. Ain't nothing we can do about it. It ain't going nowhere. It's gotten legalized. It's in almost every state. Can't wait till it gets here December 1st so I can place bets on my couch. But gambling is here. So it's going to pose problems for professional athletes. We see it some in NFL, players getting hit for gambling or having things on their phone, as if these players don't know that all these betting sites have geolocations on them, meaning they know where you are when you place bets. right? These leagues are sophisticated enough to know your phone and track it and find out where you are when you're placing these bets and get a laundry list of things in terms of what you're placing bets on. Specifically, if you're an NFL player betting on NFL games, or in Terry Rozier's case, you are tipping people off, telling them you're not going to play in games, or you basically pull a Tony in blue chips and you play a game, but you exit the game early or you don't give the full effort, right? And it's a slippery slope. This can ruin the sport for a number of reasons. One, people that enjoy just watching sports, just purists, are not going to trust the product that they're watching. So with all this trying to make this money, if players are not coming out to play ball to play because they have ulterior motives, it's just going to ruin the sport itself. And it's under Adam Silver's watch. So that's why I said, is this a gambling problem or is this a leadership problem? Now, I don't have the answers to how to stop it. The first thing that comes to mind to me, and the way I was taught, is usually the obvious answer is the right one. And the obvious answer is to ban athletes from betting on sports, period. It's as simple as that. I don't care what sport you play. I don't care what league you're in. When you become a professional athlete, you can no longer bet on sports. I don't even want my athletes betting on boxing. I don't want them betting on MMA. I don't want them betting on nothing. It's the easiest way to try to eliminate these issues that are going to get worse, right? Because now this list of 30 people is headlined by people we know. They haven't dove into who's in that list and who they know, right? Damon Jones, they're already talking about Damon Jones, who's best friends with LeBron. LeBron told him he had an ankle injury a few years ago, so Damon Jones tipped somebody off to bet on that game. Even though LeBron, it probably was innocent and he didn't know it was going to turn into somebody betting on the Lakers, it happens. So if you are a part of the association in any way or in any professional sports league, they need to just ban betting on sports, period, right? As if we didn't learn enough from Pete Rose in baseball. So players are going to do what they want to do. Like I said, this isn't an ultimate albeit answer to the big glaring question, what do we do about sports betting? But it's a start, right? I'd rather them go extreme this way than allow everybody to do it. So figure it out from there, but start with banning sports betting for professional athletes in any sport. And now, if there is no vested interest for the player, yeah, they can probably still tip people off or whatever, but at least it gets rid of the black eye that the NBA is getting now, because the casual fan is going to see, I told y'all everything was rigged. First we had Tim Donaghy back in the day. Now we got players and coaches doing it. Like, it takes the black eye off of the players, at least, if you ban it. So now we know if they do that, okay, the players can't bet on sports. So what do they get out of it if they point shave, or what do they get out of any of this? So the conflict of itself is just, it can help eliminate some of the problems that are happening overall. So y'all let me know what y'all think, man. What should the NBA do? What should these sports leagues do about sports betting? We got comments in here. All right, we talking about, all right, so we don't, my nephew is on here. Shout out to DJ out there in San Diego. So won't stop the players from betting, but still doing stuff, taking themselves out of the game early. Yes, I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but it's policing it in some sort of way. They got to start something. Just allowing these dudes to be able to tip people off and there's no consequences. If you are banned from betting on sports and you get caught, you're banned from the league. It's simple as that. So if there's going to be consequences, obviously there's repercussions. So there's your repercussion to it. You can't bet on sports at all. And if you're caught doing it, you're banned. Your contract is null and void. Now let's see how many of these athletes stop doing it then, right? So that's what I'm saying. We got more chat on here. League should have instant ban. Absolutely, they should if you get caught doing it. So just the conflict of interest with professional athletes. Shout out to Greg on here too. See, conflict of interest. If you're a professional athlete and you're betting at all, it's a conflict of interest, 100%. So I appreciate y'all for chiming in. Let me know what y'all think. Again, the X Factor Sports Podcast. You can catch us live on YouTube every Wednesday night. And tonight we're doing a special Halloween episode. So we are live on Twitch, Facebook, and TikTok. But normally every Wednesday on YouTube, you can check us out. And anywhere you can listen to audio podcasts. All right. So let's get into baseball. Listen, for those of y'all who follow me on social media, did y'all see the game Monday night? I mean, I'm literally watching the game, falling asleep, but I had to. It was history being made. 18 innings of baseball, a game 3, a pivotal game 3. I went to the Chiefs game Monday night, came home and pretty much watched an entire baseball game because I caught it in the 12th and then rocked out all the way to the 18th inning. I'm glad I stayed awake for it. Dads, if you have sons, let them stay up for those moments. We probably never see those again. It's historic, especially if they love sports. This is how kids fall in love with sports. When they get moments like this, they can share and they can go to school and tell their friends. They may be half asleep in school. So by lunchtime, they can tell their friends what they saw the night before. We used to do it all the time. It was great. Moms didn't let us stay up, but she let us go in the room and we had a TV and the volume down. But I'll never forget those memories. Sports just brings everybody together. That's why I love doing this. So, but let's get into it, man. Who wins the World Series? Okay, so Game 5 is going on as we speak. So don't change the dial. Please stay here to the X Factor Sports Podcast. You'll have plenty more going on. It's only the bottom of the first inning anyway. The Blue Jays are up 2-0. But who's going to win this World Series? I'm not even torn. I'm going to tell you this. First of all, if you watch the X Factor Sports Podcast, I did not have the LA Dodgers making it to the World Series. I had the Blue Jays against the Phillies, right? We were going to go back to 1993. And the reason I have the Blue Jays winning the World Series, spoiler alert, is because, number one, their bullpen is better. The Dodgers bullpen was an issue. Now, they put on a valiant effort on Monday. Clayton Kershaw went out there and finished an inning. It was great sports, great storytelling. But in reality, if you followed the game, the Blue Jays was beating them all game. It was like 5-2. Even with Shohei Ohtani hitting home runs, going 4 for 4. He got on base 9 times, which is a tied record. There was over 600 pitches in that game. The game went over 6.5 hours. With all that being said, it took 18 innings in a home game for the Dodgers to eke out a win, a Freddie Freeman heroic walk-off home run. Every single game that has been played in this World Series, the Blue Jays have come out swinging. Figuratively, literally, everything. They've been the better team, all right? I have the Blue Jays winning this series in 7, okay? I think the Dodgers get one more because they may have the starting pitcher that can take it. I don't know if Snell will do it tonight over Yasavage, but I got the Blue Jays winning in 7. They are more equipped to compete against the Dodgers pitching with their bats and their order. They won a game last night without George Springer. They're winning right now as we speak. They've been the better baseball team all year. So it's not like it's a surprise. It may be a shock to people that don't watch baseball because the Dodgers are so good all the time. And they're the defending World Series champs. But if you've watched baseball, the Blue Jays have been good since All-Star break. They've been the best team in baseball. Like, they took off in the AL East, right? That's why when we did the brackets, we had the Blue Jays going to the World Series. We just had them playing against the Phillies because the Phillies were playing equally as good. Now, they might have been intimidated by the Dodgers because they are great. You got Shohei Ohtani as leadoff, right? followed by Mookie and Freddie Freeman. Like, they got a great lineup, okay? So I'm not taking anything away from the Dodgers. I'm just saying, if you've been watching these games, every single game has been an uphill battle for the Dodgers. They've had to come back to win the 2 games they won. It's had to be epic, right? Where the Blue Jays have been handling them and they just kind of let it slip away. Fatigue, I don't know what it is. But in my opinion, for that series to turn, the Dodgers needed to win yesterday. Why? Because in game 3, to have that game go all the way to midnight, a game that started at 5 a.m. Pacific time to go to midnight, everybody's tired. Every pitcher in the bullpen has been used. That's the time to use the home crowd and use their energy to get a game 4, right? And because they weren't able to get it, I feel like the Blue Jays got new life, right? They feel like, okay, we took their best shot. They took our best shot. Yeah, they got the win in 18 innings, but we came back tomorrow when all of us are tired, not even 24 hours of rest, and we got a win in LA. We feel good about our chances. And because of that, I got the Dodgers losing to the Blue Jays in 7 games. So give me the Toronto Blue Jays winning the World Series. Now, anything can happen in sports. This is why we watch it, right? That's the beauty of it. The Dodgers can have another miracle comeback game tonight, but just starting off, they've already given up 2 runs. Snell's already given up 2 runs in the first inning today, right? We're only in the bottom of the first inning. So, yes, I mean, in order for them to win, I think they just got to pull off miracle after miracle after miracle. And how many of those do you have left? Like, when a team is just better than you, they're better. So I think the Dodgers can win 1 more. But give me the Blue Jays winning it in 7 games. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. Anything can happen. I see that. Appreciate you, KC Kickballer. But yeah, anything can happen, yes. But just me watching the game with my 2 eyes and watching the Blue Jays since July, they've been the best baseball team. So I got to go with what I see. It's real talk, unbiased takes. So unless the Dodgers can pull off some more miracles, I don't see it happening. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Who you have winning the World Series? Comment below. At the beginning of the year, I ain't going to hold y'all. I did not have the Blue Jays winning the World Series. It was just when the playoffs started, I had them going to the World Series. And watching the playoffs progress, they've just been a better team. They've showed up in big moments. They did it against the Mariners. Like, this is kind of what championship seasons are made of. You get a little bit of luck, you get clutch play, you get big time performances, and they're checking all the boxes in real time. All right. The XFactorSportz podcast is on YouTube every Wednesday night. We are on episode 106. So that means if you're just now tuning in, you got a lot of episodes to catch up. All right. Because we have a lot of fun on here every Wednesday night. And you can listen to the audio on all platforms. So Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, YouTube Music, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. The XFactorSportz podcast is there every week. All right. So let's get into it. The title of the show, Unbelievable Power Rankings. So what I'm saying is this. You guys are not going to believe who we have on this power ranking. The NFL power rankings are not about record. Record plays a part in it. But also what a team is doing at this point in time in the NFL, the way they're winning, the teams they're beating, if they're on a streak, if they got great point differential, if they have a good offense and defense, a lot of these things are computed in the power rankings. This ain't ESPN. This ain't NFL.com. I watch the games and I go off what I'm seeing and who I think are the best teams at this moment. So going into week 9, here are your top 10 power rankings. All right. As it sits right here, that's the top 10. We're going to count them down from 10 to 1. So at number 10, we got ourselves the Los Angeles Chargers. All right. If you look at how they're playing football, yes, all these teams have losses. So that's why I say it's not all predicated on wins and losses. So you have the Chargers playing some good football. Justin Herbert is leading the league in passing yards, right? They got a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. So they're trending in the right direction. They have not lost a division game yet. The schedule is a little weak right now, but they win the games that they should win. And they had a slip up in 1 week, but I think they'll be good. They're going to bounce back. So I got the LA Chargers at number 10. They need to get their running game together. I know Amarion Hampton is hurt, so they need to figure that out and keep that going. At number 9, this is a team. This is why I tell you this happens in real time and why I give y'all real talk, unbiased takes. I have the New England Patriots as a pretender, if you watch the episodes a couple weeks ago. And they were pretenders because I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to make noise in the playoffs. I had them winning some games, but I didn't have them playing this well. So I have to show them love and get them respect when it's due. New England Patriots at 9. They enter the power rankings at 6-2, but they're on a 5-game winning streak. Okay? So they beat the defending 3, 4, 5-time AFC East champs, Buffalo Bills. And I'm like, okay, they got to win. It's against a divisional opponent, but they've been running off victories. Drake May getting knocked out of games, coming back in. Like, these guys are playing hard. If you look at the New England Patriot team last year, they had probably the least talented team in football. And this year, just adding Brian Vrabel in his first year, he's a coach of the year candidate. 5-game win streak. Drake May looks like the guy. He's honestly looking like the best quarterback in that draft with Caleb and Jaden Daniels, right? As it speaks right now. Obviously, Jaden Daniels had a monster year last year, but he's hurt now. But Drake May is looking like he's starting to figure it out. Mike Vrabel's believing in him. The locker room believes in that kid. And now they're stringing wins together. So I got them at number 9. All right. At number 8, the Broncos, another team on a 5-game win streak. Patrick Surtain might be out. He might end up being on IR, so that may hurt him in the next 4 weeks when we do the next power ranking. But right now, they're one of the best defensive teams in football. They win the ugly games. They've won blowouts. The Cowboys got smacked around last week in Mile High. So if they can figure out how to continue to score points on offense, Bo Nix can snap out of this slump he's in, second year, sophomore jinx, whatever you want to call it. The Broncos can be a good team. They can be one of 3 teams out of the AFC West to make the playoffs. So if they can keep this going, they actually are starting to look good. So I got them at number 8. At number 7, the Buffalo Bills. Again, still one of the best teams in football, one of the best quarterbacks in football. And they were on a bye last week. Strong record at 5-2. You can see a little bit of the deficiencies on defense, particularly in the passing defense. Run defense is good, but I think coming down to the end of the season, we're going to see what type of team the Bills really is. So the way I always look at it is I want to see how good these guys are after Thanksgiving. Why? Because the NFL football is an outdoor sport. And in November, it starts getting cold everywhere, no matter what division you're in, right? Even if you're in the AFC West, you still got to go up to San Francisco and play in November, December. Still got to go up to Seattle. In the South, right, you still got to go to Carolina. It ain't always nice there. So even in Texas, the Houston Texans in the AFC South, they got to go up to Indianapolis. Tennessee gets cold weather. They play outdoors. So I always like seeing majority of the teams playing bad weather come Thanksgiving and on. So I want to see what the Buffalo Bills look like coming down towards the end of the season and getting closer to Thanksgiving. But right now they sit at 7. At number 6, the Tampa Bay Bucks, they continue to win at 6-2 with all of their offensive weapons falling apart. I feel bad for Mike Evans, broken collarbone. I actually watched it in real time. Me and Ms. D was watching it. He reached out for a catch, didn't get it, fell on his shoulder, and then just rolled over and laid down. I was like, Danielle, he broke something. And then they showed the replay. I was like, yeah, he separated his shoulder at minimum, and it ended up being a collarbone. So get well soon, Mike. I love Mike Evans, man. He's a Hall of Famer in my book already. But even in spite of that, and with Baker Mayfield, who was an MVP candidate in our first power rankings, it's kind of dipped a little bit. They still finding ways to win games. It helps that they're in the soft division, but you got to win the games that you're supposed to play, or you beat the teams you're supposed to beat. So can't be mad at them. They still got momentum. 6 wins already before November 1st is a huge feat. That speaks playoffs to me. So shout out to them. They're staying consistent. At number 5, the Green Bay Packers. Now, I don't think people understand how big of a win that was in Pittsburgh, right? That was an emotional win, not only for Matt LaFleur, the coach, not only for the Green Bay Packer fans, but for Jordan Love, okay? You are the predecessor to Aaron Rodgers. This is an organization in the last 30 years, 35 years, damn near, they've only had 3 starting quarterbacks, like 3 guys. Obviously, people stepped in when they were hurt. But the main guys, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. So this was a big victory for them just on the strength of beating the guy you were looking up at, right? The White Rabbit. It was a big win for that. Also a big road win in Pittsburgh, a win that they desperately needed. And Green Bay went out there and got the victory. So at 5-1-1 with the tie, the record speaks volumes. They're playing good football. If Jordan Love doesn't turn the ball over, they are a good football team. The problem comes in the playoffs when teams key in on him and make him have to beat them. When they load the box, Josh Jacobs can't run. But in the regular season, because that's what this power ranking is, the Packers look good. They look like they can beat anybody on any given day. And if Jordan Love is consistent and his wide receiver, his weapons are healthy, they can beat anybody. So shout out to them for being at number 5. At number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs were not in the power rankings last time, and for good reason, but they're starting to pick it up. Okay. A lot of people are talking about Patrick Mahomes, but y'all need to start looking at the numbers because he's number 2 in passing behind Justin Herbert now. All right. And he's got Rashee Rice back. And you guys tell me, does Rashee Rice look like a number 1 receiver to you? Because I think the dude's got like 5 touchdowns in 2 games. Okay. So because of that, it opens up everybody else, right? Xavier Worthy can get looks, right? Hollywood Brown, I think, is out. But when he comes back, Travis Kelce doesn't have to do everything, right? He can just be a red zone threat or a third down threat because him and Mahomes are so in sync. He just knows where to go to get the ball. And then you got young Noah Gray to do all the dirty work for for Travis Kelce. So the Chiefs on a roll. I think they got 3 straight. It was a good game on Monday night. No Jaden Daniels was disappointing, but I think we all still picked the Chiefs to win. So they're on to the next. But I think anybody that's paying attention to football knows that when the Chiefs get going around this time of year is when we need to start paying attention to them as a serious contender. So I got them at 4. At number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. Despite all the controversy, despite all the A.J. Brown wants to leave, despite all the is he going to play, is he not going to play, despite all the Saquon Barkley not getting yards, they're still winning football games. They're finding ways to win. They're piecing this thing together, right? Maybe it's a championship pedigree. Maybe it's just guys are starting to trust each other. I don't know what it is, but they're just figuring it out. And they've won some big games. You can't take away the big games they've won. They beat Tampa Bay. They beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. They have some big wins. They avenged the Giants' loss. Get well soon, Cam Scatterboo. That was a nasty injury. But the Eagles are just moving along. It doesn't look sexy. It never has. But wins are wins. And in the power rankings, The best teams win games. So we got Philly at 3. Okay. At number 2, the Detroit Lions. Again, the Lions are playing good football offensively. Aiden Hutchinson looks good. He's healthy. Defense is getting better. And they're simply not the number one team because the number one team can't be denied for what they've been doing. Okay. Shout out to them. But back to Detroit. Again, explosive offense, right? Jared Goff having a great year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, the whole crew. Everybody playing great football. Now, when it comes to the upper echelon teams, I always get nervous about the Detroit Lions because Dan Campbell feels like he has to gamble or he has to go for it on fourth down all the time because he's threatened by the other team. And I know a lot of y'all going to say that's what he does, that's what they do. Sometimes taking the points or believing in your defense is a good thing. Letting your offense get some rest, letting them see what they need to see to adjust is not a bad thing, right? I'm not saying that going for it on fourth down is demoralizing if you don't get it. What I'm saying is sometimes it's okay to let your defense go out so you can give them some morale too. It's a team sport. If you say, we're going to punt this off, we trust our defense to get a stop. The defense can say, oh, okay, cool. They believe we can go out and do our thing. Let's show them we can do our thing and get the offense the ball back. The ultimate team sport. But as far as putting up points, Detroit is second to none. They're having a great season again, which I didn't think they would have, losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, but here we are. All right. And then at number 1, the Indianapolis Colts. Argue with your mama. Ain't nobody playing better football than these dudes, right? Shout out to Miss Irsay, Jim Irsay's daughter, rest in peace to Jim Irsay. His daughter is on the field taking notes. It's like these dudes are on their best behavior because she's out on the field, the owner. But at 7-1, nobody could tell me that y'all thought they was going to be 7-1. And we be talking about Daniel Jones as one of the best quarterbacks in the league in week 9. And Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in football right now. No doubt about it, right? They're balanced from top to bottom. They probably have the best offensive line. Daniel Jones is reborn. And to have him clicking on all cylinders, Michael Pittman, like, they're the best team in the league right now. That's why we do a power ranking. Their record is good. They're top 10 in offense. The quarterback is a top 5 quarterback in passing yards and completion percentage rating. They got the number 1 running back, yards per attempt, touchdowns. Like, so it's not just a record thing. It's an analytic thing, right? They've beaten everybody in their path. The Rams got them in a good game. But any of the games before this season started, you looked at the schedule, you did not have them at 7-1 going into week 9. And because of that, they're the number 1 team in the power rankings going into week 9. All right. So that's the list. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let's go ahead and get in these comments, see what y'all say. All right. We got Chiefs starting to look good. Yes, they are starting to look good. Amon-Ra St. Brown is scary. I know, man. We got to play them twice a year as a Bears fan, so I worry about them. They already smacked us around. So understand that. Yep. Aiden Hutchinson got his money for sure. So I think it's a good list. Again, y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about the list. We'll keep it moving. Okay? Again, the XFactorSportz podcast. You can always catch us on YouTube every Wednesday night and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Tonight, we are live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and TikTok. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. All right? Before we get out of here, you know we got to get into that 2-minute warning. And we got to talk about it and add it all up, put the sports and the life together, how we do that. So this week, we're going to talk about a vicious cycle. And this is in society, okay? A lot of things that happen in society. So you guys have probably heard this saying before, but I'm going to just break it down on what I think it means to me, okay? So hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. All right? Do y'all understand what I mean by that? So If you come from a generation or family or a situation where you were in tough times, it's going to harden you. It's going to callous you to get through tough times, through tough situations. You're going to figure it out, right? And it's going to make you strong. It will indirectly, directly make you a stronger person, human being. Okay. And because you go through those hard times, your next generation, your kids, or whoever you're teaching, or whoever's following your example, you will create good times for them because you will help them avoid all these landmines that you had to deal with, all the tough times. So in turn, you will create good times for them. Now, if they grow up with good times, they're going to teach the next generation about good times. And they're not going to know the pitfalls that happen in society or the pitfalls that can happen anywhere. And that in turn can create weak men because they're naive to things that can happen to them negatively. And because of that, it can create weak times and bring us back to hard times. I say all that to say this. If you come from hard times and you've fought tooth and nail, you've fought your life to get to where you are today, and you're in a good situation, and you're teaching other people and leading them into good times, I'm not saying bring them back to weak times or struggling times. What I'm saying is make sure they understand that this is the reason you have good times. This is the reason why we've created wealth. This is the reason why we are successful. Is because of these situations. Now you have to understand that tough times can come all the time. At any moment, there could be a tough stretch. You want to be prepared for those moments, right? It's like the movie 300. So in the beginning, they show Leonidas going out as a kid into the wilderness. And if he comes back, he's a king, right? I'm paraphrasing, but he basically went out. He had to be out in the wilderness in the cold and fight a lion or a wolf and survive and come back. The Spartans did that with their young all the time. So even though they were in good times, even though he's a good king, he's still teaching his kids adversity and teach them how to overcome adversity. So the good times continue, but you're cognizant of the bad times can come, and you have to be prepared for those. So that's what I'm saying in all this. Let's start preparing the next generation so they don't deal with hard times and be weak. Let's prepare them to be strong, even in good times, and if times come inevitably tough. All right. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to the X Factor Sports podcast. Again, you can always catch us every Wednesday night on YouTube. If you like the gear, you can go ahead and click the QR code, or you can hit me up direct. We got all sizes, all colors, hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts. Get your orders in. We'll get them out to you. We also got XFactorSportz podcast hats. They're always in gray and black. So go ahead and scan the QR code. It takes you straight to the XFactorSportz store, or you can hit me up directly on social media and let me know your sizes. We'll get those out to you. All right. Again, thank y'all for tuning in to the XFactorSportz podcast, episode 106. This is season 9, episode 10, the X episode. Yes, sir. Shout out to our special guest, Jason Voorhees, at the beginning of the show. Appreciate you stopping in from Camp Crystal Lake. Next week, we definitely got more football. Basketball will be definitely in. We will have a World Series champion because that's going to be over by November 1st. And we will talk about college football. We got to talk about college football playoff because that's coming pretty soon too on episode 107. And we're getting close to the end of season 9, y'all. So make sure you tapped into the season. Let me know if it's been a good season or not and what we can do to get better for season 10, season X. That's right. All right. This is Jay Mondaine of the X Factor Sports Podcast signing out. Peace.